Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It has been a hot minute. This is What's Going On with Leanna Perrier and Gabriel Jukes. I don't know why I'm
Just full
government naming both of us this time. I've forgotten how to do this. It's been a while. We haven't uploaded an episode of the podcast. We haven't recorded an episode of the podcast in a while.
Almost 3 months.
It's been a while. You'll also notice this is an audio only one. We would normally record,
but we both look like shit. So
it's not that.
No.
It's just we are just
lazy.
We're going to try and make this a bit of a shorter one as well. We might not go into so much depth of what's going on in like terms of what's happening in the world. We'll touch on it maybe a little bit, but otherwise. It's just going to be a big old thing that you're taking me through. I actually don't know what this is about. I think you've told me, but
it was the documentary that you chose. I gave you a few options about things I wanted to look into, and you just kind of closed your eyes and picked one.
If you give me an option, I'll choose number 2 every single time.
I think it was like 4th in.
Yeah, I chose the second one.
Yeah, okay. But no, it has. It's been a while. It's been a bit of a crazy 2 months, though.
Has it?
Yeah.
I don't know why my voice went higher there. But,
we've had a lot going on.
Oh yeah, we've been busy.
Yeah,
busy.
We had both our birthdays.
I was going to say we're both older now.
Yeah, fun.
I love being older.
Yeah, but you just turned 27. That's my lucky number.
Don't age me like that. How dare you?
What do you mean? It's not. You're still young.
All right, you're 25-year-old. Come on then.
Yeah, 25 is not bad.
Yeah,
it's all downhill from here.
It's all downhill from here. Your cells start dying at this point,
Perfect.
so it's all horrible. Yeah.
What else? I feel like it has been really busy, but now I can't think of what we've actually been doing.
Well, we've been doing things almost every weekend.
Yeah.
To be fair. I mean, other than like
we
week
went away.
Yeah.
We went away to a Eurovision party.
A Eurovision party. We were in London seeing a show.
We did, yes. That was what we were doing. God, because that was in April, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
We went and saw Curtis Connor, who's someone that I really like. And so he's like a YouTuber. He does like commentary YouTube, but he also does like stand-up comedy. And I really, really wanted to go see him. We booked these tickets ages ago. Yeah. And then I think we booked our hotel like a week before because we forgot about it.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't too bad. But yeah, no, it was a really, really good show. I really enjoyed it. I think it surprised you a bit.
I went in with very few expectations. But no, it was a good show.
It was quite good, yeah. Yeah, what else? I wrote a book.
You wrote
a book. And I published it.
You are now a published author.
I am now a published author.
And you're going to plug the book now?
I am going to plug the book.
Go for it.
I'm awkward now.
I'll get a copy of the book so you can look at it.
No, I remember the title, thank you. I didn't write it myself.
I don't.
Wow.
I'm kidding. It's 2 a.m. Thoughts of the Quiet.
Thoughts in the Quiet.
In the Quiet, sorry.
Yeah, so it's a collection of writings and poems. I've been writing it since I was 17, actually. So it took 7 years to write and publish.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't actually going to publish it, but kind of your dad actually was like, she should really publish her work. And I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, fuck it. Why not?
Well, yeah, you'd written a few poems since we'd met.
Yeah, nicer ones.
Very, very, very lovely, beautiful poems. And I'd shown a couple to my parents. And my dad has a degree in English literature and thought that they were really, really good. So he, gave you some encouragement and also offered to be sort of a proofreader for the book.
He was my editor.
Manuscript, yeah.
So,
yes, done.
So it's a collection of poems and writings about mostly about the experience of being a woman, struggling with things with mental health, grief, loss, and some darker aspects of love. I can't say it's the most joyful book.
It is harrowing in parts, I have to say, but
in a good way. He means that lovingly,
in
right?
in a great way. Like, it is beautiful and haunting and devastating as a man who hasn't experienced
being a woman,
let alone half the things in the book. It's such an insight, and I think it's just wonderful that you've been able to write everything, get all of these feelings and thoughts down and put them out into the world.
Thank you.
So
I'll put a link down in the
put a link.
bio
Otherwise,
if you want to read it and buy it and read
I
it.
was going to say, where can you get it? It's Amazon and just Amazon at the moment.
It is Amazon, and so I also publish through Ingram Spark. So I publish through a couple of places. So I think Ingram Spark it distributes it to like other bookstores and stuff. But if you buy it through Amazon, it is cheaper.
It is cheaper
because the Kindle edition is also cheaper than the paperback. But yeah. And then I started writing a new book.
I know
that's why I'm so busy.
You're busy doing things, and I'm just a regular working Joe.
Yeah, 9 to 5.
9 to 5. It's
but I don't know how long this one's going to take me. Hopefully less than 7 years.
We'll see.
But I sent me like 2 chapters in, so
it's going well.
I'm not promising anything.
And that's the end of the shameless plug section.
Yeah. God, other than that, I think it was just really our birthdays. I had a really, really good birthday.
You did.
Thanks to you.
You're very
organised me a very nice birthday barbecue, and we had really good weather.
We got very lucky. I think we were worried it was gonna.
It was meant to rain.
It was meant to
rain. But no, it was really nice. We just had food, played some games. There was like a little quiz. You did give me food poisoning though.
That's not been proven.
Okay, I said I got food poisoning, and then you apologized.
Well, yeah,
because you cooked my food.
The barbecue cooked your food.
Well, it didn't. That wasn't why I got food poisoning.
We should have put it in the oven. That's veggie chicken burgers. Put them in the oven.
Yeah, it's not even the like beans one.
Not the beans.
It's like if you have micro protein burgers, absolutely do not put it in the barbecue. Which I said to you. I said you should definitely put them in the oven. Both you and Keebs and Ed, I found out, all said, nah, that'll be fine. So instead of listening to the culinary student, you just were all like, yeah.
We were like,
maybe I should add that to my book. The experience of women in a barbecue situation.
Well, it was men round a barbecue being like, yeah, be fine, be all right. Classic British.
So you didn't think like, oh, that says 35 minutes in the oven. I'm going to put that on the barbecue for 5.
15. It was a good 15, 12.
Okay, well, I was still very ill afterwards.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But you had a good time.
I had a good time.
I was going to say, please
up until that point. No, it was really good. It was really good. It was nice to see everyone and get everyone together. But yeah, no. Other than that, we've just kind of been lazy. It gets around to the weekend and we're like, shall we do it? And then because I've had these notes for this documentary, my own research written for I think a month. And we just haven't done it.
We just haven't got around to it.
No, we're being really bad.
That's fine. You know, got to leave people wanting more.
Which reminds me, actually, do you know what my book is? My notebook?
Your notebook?
Yeah.
Is it the brown one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not that one. That's my dream journal.
Then no, I don't know where it is.
I'm going to take a brief break while I go find that because I have half my notes for this one. And I'm back. I found it. I've also been learning Norwegian. I knew there was something else.
You have started learning Norwegian.
Yeah,
yes.
This is what unemployed looks like.
I'm also trying to learn, but I'm learning it very much slower than you are.
Yeah, but I have a lot more free time than you.
True.
Other than that,
it's just been a good time.
It's been a good time.
Domestic bliss. What can I say?
Yeah. Oh.
You weren't expecting me to say that, were you?
I wasn't. Yeah. So, I mean, we've been having a fun time. You know who's not been having a fun time?
Who's not been having a fun time?
Palestine, Iran.
Okay, yeah. So we're jumping
Israel,
into the what's going
US.
on in the world section.
Yeah, we normally do like a little bit of news. We usually pick like a couple of things, but there's just so much going on that I haven't specifically picked anything. Because I think the only news right now is just the war.
Yeah, well, to date this podcast, Iran and Israel have pretty much reopened hostilities again. We had lots of protests in America, anti-ICE protests in America last week as well. There's been protests in Northern Ireland.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
the ones that's like that. It's all about we're protecting women, but it's just thinly veiled racism.
You know what? I
You
didn't look
haven't looked
into it
into
that
it.
much. But
So I can give you a brief little, because I keep up with the news a lot.
well, I mean, if that's what you want to do with your time, I will yield the floor to you.
Again, I have nothing else to do. I'm, you know,
Okay.
but like, so it was two men, I think attempted to rape or did rape a young Irish girl.
Crikey.
They were of an ethnic origin
An ethnic.
that I cannot remember
Okay.
what it was. But they basically just started having all these protests that kind of turned into riots. They were like breaking into people's home, like destroying their homes. I know there was one Filipinian family that it was like a mother and kids because the husband was at work, hiding upstairs while they broke into her house and trashed the place.
Yikes.
Even though it was nothing to do with, because I remember reading that, because that's where a lot of this isn't actually about protesting about protecting women. This is just racism, really.
Right.
Because again, I can't remember what the ethnicity of the people that like attacked the girl, but they weren't Filipinian.
No.
But it's not good.
No,
it's not.
It's absolutely horrible. Yeah, people are taking advantage of a situation just to cause chaos.
It's in Ballymena.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. But it's a shame that obviously everyone does have a right to protest, and people should be more than welcome and able to exercise that right. But when it becomes dangerous and innocent people get caught in the crossfire, which is happening a lot in America, then we have an issue, basically.
They were Romanian.
Oh, okay.
It was two Romanian 14-year-old boys were arrested on suspicion of sexually assaulting a teenage girl.
14-year-old boys.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Then
what are the parents doing? Come on.
It just becomes like, these two guys have done this, and it becomes just an immigration issue where it's like, one bad apple rots the rest, when it isn't. It's just two bad apples in this case.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I guess it's difficult because
it's a sensitive issue, immigration at the moment, because the whole of Europe there's lots of right-wing movements. Almost every country is experiencing some sort of not resurgence or just a sort of surge in immigration policies and opinions about different people moving in between and into different countries legally and illegally. So it's an interesting time with the world becoming. It feels like it's becoming more closed off.
It feels like we're just ramping up for World War III, to be honest.
Well,
like not even like immigration aside, because that's the other thing that like is about why I don't think that this is about a right about protecting people. Like that's what they've used as an excuse. But it is just about like immigration, because statistically, the most likely offender for sexual crimes is I can't remember what the percentage was, but it was it's white Irish men.
Irish men. Okay.
Yeah, in Ireland, not in the world.
I was going to say, Jesus, they're getting about.
Like in that area.
Right. Yeah. Well, that makes more sense because
I think it's the same like in the UK. Like it's white British men are the most likely to offend in that way.
But doesn't get reported on as much as.
No, because it's not in the news.
Yeah.
It's when it's someone who's not white or British, it's in the news, and then I feel like this was the same conversation we had or whatever our last news was 2 months ago,
probably,
because it was something about the same, where it's just like it just gets reported on and then blown out of proportion, and then it's all just like it's just fear mongering. It's just turning people against other people in the community that maybe don't come from the same place as you or don't particularly look like you. It's so dumb.
There's a lot of almost a lack of empathy, a lack of understanding, which is put forward more by the traditional media, And because you know, I think I probably said it before as well. Media's always got their agenda, depending on who's in charge. So,
but then we don't like live. I mean, we live in a really good place.
oh
Like,
yeah,
we
this
don't
is
ever see any of this.
no.
Kind of
And
stuff.
obviously, all of our opinions are coming from a very well, not sheltered, but a privileged place, and a place where we are able to look in on this. Without necessarily being
We've never had
directly
like fear for our house or our
Exactly.
family.
Yeah.
And I do really feel for the people that are being targeted for no reason.
Absolutely. There will be two sides to every story, I think, and it's hard because we only ever hear one. Oh, sorry for that. If you guys are
It's
hearing
windy.
we've got the window open and the curtains are rustling.
Because it's like 30 degrees in here.
It is very warm.
Because I feel like it's different if, like, you know, they were protesting because, you know, the whole a whole ethnic community in Northern Ireland was attacking everyone and, you know, saying that they have to convert to whatever religion that is. That would be different.
That's extremism. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too. I don't even see the ethnicity. I see the gender.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
That's a whole nother issue of
I did say it a bit as a
teach your
joke.
boys not to be dicks.
Yeah, I said
rather
it
than
as
having to teach my girls to defend themselves.
Yeah,
but
it is genuinely an issue of you know people being raised in certain ways. There's you know that has to have some element of it, especially when they are that young. You know they are still impressionable. They don't. They should you know be.
Yeah, like 14. How do you even know? What do you know? Why do you even know what sex is?
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah.
Not
But yeah,
ideal.
I actually completely forgot about that because I've been looking more into the LA riots, which is also about immigration. They're rioting because
That's the anti-ICE protests.
Yeah. Those are getting like really bad though because they're like they're just detaining anyone basically that isn't white. And it's like they've arrested like so many American citizens that are like, no, I'm American, and just because they're like not white, basically. Like they arrested like a 9-month pregnant woman.
Jeez.
And they arrested someone who was just on holiday, like visiting like their family in the US.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it's just America though, isn't it?
It's
I have a lot to say about the US.
It's a melting pot. I tell you, we could do a whole entire podcast about what's going on, immigration, America itself. We could do on, but we are going to try and keep it a bit more brief. So, if you would like us to talk more about present current events, please let us know, and we will do so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's been any good news. Oh, from like a month ago when I wrote this, I'm going to throw it in, even though it was a month ago, because it's good. It's positive.
Yeah.
So they have done a new, some self research with, like live human brain tissue for dementia, I think.
Okay.
It was I definitely wrote it down somewhere and it's probably now fucking gone. But from what I can remember, so they were using patients going in for brain surgery, like volunteers, obviously, and asking if they could take some of their brain tissue, and were then using it to introduce, like, what is it? It's like amyloid protein that becomes toxic, isn't it? Amyloid beta protein.
I have no idea what the words you just said are, but yes.
I think I'm gonna get. So it was to do with dementia research. Oh, someone's car's alarm's going off.
Let me just double check that that's not mine.
I don't think anyone's stealing your Honda Civic. No offense. Oh, it stopped. Not yours then.
Not mine. Nobody wants my Civic.
Aha! There we go. I found the. So this was from, this was from 30th of April. That's how long ago I did the notes for this, actually.
Jeez, okay.
But yeah, so they've been using living human brain tissue to show for the first time how a toxic form of a protein linked to Alzheimer's can stick to and damage synapses, the connections between brain cells. So, I was right. Exposed to amyloid beta protein. See, nice. I remember things.
Very well
Dementia
remembered.
is the area that I really want to go into, so I'm happy that I can remember these things.
Nice.
But because for a long time they haven't been able to, like, so the good thing about being able to use the live tissue is that they can see the effect it has on it in like real
Real
time.
time, yeah.
So
Simulate the conditions of a human body, pretty much.
So it's just kind of like really like helped, like it is going to help towards, you know, treating it,
Yes, of
slowing it
course.
down. Because it's kind of the early stages of Alzheimer's. I think that the thing with like dementia, Alzheimer's, when it's late stage, I don't think we'll ever find a cure. I think we can maybe find the best way to slow it down. But I think this is like amazing and like so interesting for me because this research, like what they've discovered, could maybe, you know, lead to a cure for early, or to at least slow it down so much that
you can improve the quality of life dramatically.
Yeah, until like so much later on where it starts affecting you.
Absolutely.
So,
oh, that's fantastic.
that's
news.
really interesting.
That's really
that was
good.
something like 2 months ago, but I do still remember it.
Yeah, that's a breakthrough, definitely. Nice.
I mean, we're not doing interesting drinks today. We're both on water.
So yes, what are you having, my dear? What are you drinking today?
Some crisp, hard water from where we live. We've had every weekend. I've been drinking a lot, and I was very hungover yesterday. So yeah, just water. Don't give me that look.
I didn't give you any look at all. I am drinking a delicious glass of tap water today. I thought I'd try something new, and it is from a glass. Unlike you, who is drinking from a mug, I am drinking from a tall highball glass. I think it's a highball.
Yeah, they're called highball.
Highball glass.
I just really like drinking everything from mugs, but then I also eat everything from bowls with spoons. I don't like having plates with forks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Do what you like. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah. You just point it out.
I just notice, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. I eat what you like, drink what you like. Or from what you like. Just as long as it's washed up after you use it, that's all that matters. That goes for both of us.
What is this?
Just I'm not being non-judgmental. That's what I'm being right now.
Right. Well, anyway.
Oh, okay.
No, we'll just move on.
We're just swiftly moving on. We are drinking water.
We're drinking water. Yeah, we're drinking water. Maybe you might want some alcohol by the end of this. I don't pick. Maybe one time I should just pick something nice to cover. But then, if this is a true crime and psychology podcast, there's never anything nice to cover. I don't know if there are nice
crimes, are there, really?
No.
I mean, yeah, you look at lots of dark things, but that's fine.
I do. Maybe that's why I'm so depressed.
Maybe.
Anyway. So I've written a little synopsis.
Okay. See, I don't remember anything about what's going to be talked about today, so I'm coming into this completely new and fresh.
That's fine. That's what the synopsis is for. It's going to give you a little taster of what's to come.
Nice.
Right.
Let's go.
So, this story revolves around twin brothers Marcus and Alex Lewis. In 1982, 18-year-old Alex was in a motorcycle accident that caused him to lose his memory. In the years that followed, he relied solely on his twin brother Marcus to teach him how to live again and about his past. From the outside, the Lewis family seemed like a happy family with an idyllic life, but after the passing of their parents in 1990 and 1995, Alex started to question his brother's lack of grief. Through harrowing recounting of memories and 20 years of avoidance, Alex finally uncovered the dark truth hidden behind closed doors.
Ooh, okay. I think I know where this is going.
So this was actually a really good revision for me for how memory is like formed in the brain and stuff. I even bought myself a little brain model.
You did,
which is so useless for an audio format.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But
you can look at it and
I can show you.
You can show me where's the hippocampus. I don't know.
Well, this actually. So I bought this model. It's not a very detailed model because if you want a really detailed model,
they cost.
They're so. This was 40.
That was 40.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the memory is a lot to do with there's certain lobes and stuff. But a lot of it is in like this little tiny area. and this is called like limbic system,
Yes.
and none of it is detailed on here.
Oh man,
So
that's a shame.
it doesn't matter with today, but
yeah,
I will point out what I can. I'll give you the general area of where it is, but that's later down the line.
Okay.
So, I wasn't really sure how to order this one because the documentary I was watching, it was a little bit all over the place. So I've done it is that I'm going to start with Alex's story, who is the one who lost his memory. And then I'm going to kind of go through Marcus's side, up until kind of like the, I don't want to say plot twist because this is real people and a real story, but
sure.
And then it's just kind of like the aftermath, what happened, and then I'll go into a bit of a psychological analysis. I'm also going to talk a little bit about twin studies and how memories are made.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
Let's go for it. Let's get stuck right in.
I'm just going to take a little drink because there's going to be a lot of talking.
Okay.
You're so creepy.
I just looked her directly in the eyes when she took a sip there.
It's like when a dog pees and just looks at you straight in the eye. That's what you remind me of.
You remind me of a dog. God damn it. Okay. Well, that's a hit to the ego.
So this is after Alex has his he was in a motorcycle accident and he woke up in the hospital. He didn't know where he was, but he instantly recognized his brother Marcus. He said that he remembered there was also a hysterical woman beside his bed who was talking to him and, you know, was crying and smiling. He didn't know who this person was, and it was his mother.
Ooh.
So the only person he recognized was his brother. So his brother asked him if he knew where he was or what his name was, and Alex soon realized he actually had no memory of anything.
Wow.
Literally, only thing he remembered, his brother. So that's 18 years of memory gone.
Crikey. Okay.
So the doctors explained that during his crash, the helmet that Alex had been wearing had come off, causing him to hit the ground with no head protection.
Ooh, okay.
So he lost all of his
autobiographical.
Thank you, memory. So if you don't know what that is, it's kind of just like your memories of
self,
like life, and so you still remember how to like walk and talk and, you know, things that are like they're called like procedural memories stuff,
function sort of thing, opposed to okay.
So they were unsure of the extent of his brain damage or whether he'd even recover his memories, because this is oh god, what year did I say it was? This is 1982, so it's not like the brain scans and stuff we have now. Honestly, he's kind of lucky to be alive. But so yeah, he was 18 years old. This means that he now has the mental age of about a 9-year-old.
Damn.
So they took him home, didn't recognize his own house, like just nothing. He said that actually his parents weren't that supportive with this. So his mother, I kind of get where she's coming from. She just didn't want to believe that he'd lost his memory and didn't recognize his own mother. So she just kind of largely ignored it and like pretended it kind of never happened. I'm not saying that doesn't suck for Alex. I'm saying I kind of get where that's coming from. Because like if you know, I had a son and he lost his memory and didn't recognize me,
sure,
I'd find it really hard to accept that he doesn't recognize me, his mother. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's also a shit thing to do and she definitely should have been supportive.
Okay.
I'm just saying I understand
Fair enough.
why she feels that way or felt that way. His stepfather, Jack, was distant. He never visited him when he was in the hospital. When he came home, he simply shook Alex's hand and said that he was his dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cold.
Yeah. So given this, Marcus basically just became Alex's rock. He taught him all the basics of life again, what things were, how to tie his shoe, how to make toast, like everything, like having to learn all of that again.
Wow.
Like he'd literally have to like he'd have to learn the names of things again. So like he'd like go into the cupboard and he'd be like, "This is a jar. Like this is jam. This is a fork. This is a knife.
Literally
this is a
things-
TV."
Just object recognition. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Interestingly, I was going to research this like later, but I couldn't really find out about this because this is one of the things that they just don't know why this kind of stuff happens. But he said that his mother used to own a lot of chihuahuas. First of all, horrible dog. And how so Marcus told him that, yeah, you hate those chihuahuas, like we used to call them rats on legs, which is so funny because my mum used to call chihuahuas rats on leads whenever she saw one. But after the accident, he actually quite liked them. He thought they were like quite sweet because he'd never seen one before. Like in his head, he's never seen this animal before.
Yeah.
So he went from hating them to being like, oh, actually, they're kind of cute,
I guess-
and like liking them.
Yeah, he must have had some sort of negative association when he was younger, which then formed the basis of his opinion. Whereas this, first time round, he probably had a much more positive interaction with them.
Yeah, maybe that's probably where that mostly comes from. But so yeah, 'cause it's kind of like I find it really odd, you know, when like people like have brain injuries and they just like wake up and like know a new language.
Yeah, that's very
That's
strange.
very strange.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that with Norwegian. I wouldn't have to learn it.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, so they're really trying to like rebuild his past, rebuild his memories. And Alex started to ask Marcus questions about their childhood, like such as holidays. And so what Marcus would be doing was that he would like give photos of them on holiday and like having fun. They're young. And then Alex would like construct memories around these. So he'd like look at these photos and kind of build a little story around them, and that became his memory.
That's fair. Okay.
So these like tiny little fragments began to build a new sense of self for Alex. You know, showing an idyllic picture of when he was younger in a happy, normal countryside family. He learned that his parents came from an aristocratic background and that it was common for their house to be filled with lord, ladies, sirs, and duchesses.
Wow. Okay.
So they are very old money country.
Okay. Now that explains the emotional distance of both the mum and the dad then. Okay, fine.
Not that that's your feelings about aristocrats.
No comment.
Okay. So after a few months, Alex was reunited with his old friends. He found this really overwhelming because he didn't know any of them. He didn't recognize them. So Marcus and Alex had built this system where when they were meeting up with people that he didn't know, they would give like a 10-minute like rundown before they saw these people about who they were, kind of a little bit background. And they got really good at this to the point where like people that met Alex again, they like would never have said,
"Oh, they
he doesn't remember me."
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because he was just like, "Oh, hi, yeah, you know, Thomas, how's, you know, Sylvia." I'm just making up these names.
Yeah, no, works.
So yeah, they never actually like knew. Alex also had a girlfriend. See, this is the thing where it kind of gets a little weird for me. So he'd had a girlfriend before he got into the crash, and then like kind of they were still dating afterwards. He didn't remember her, didn't know who she was.
Sure.
They had a running joke between them that he lost his virginity to the same girl twice.
That's cute. It's a nice joke.
Yeah, but it was said in the documentary that
if he hasn't...
They never told her that he didn't remember who she was.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So from her point of view...
Oh, he just had an accident and came out and was fine. Ooh.
Other than she probably would have picked up about having to like relearn names of things and like tying his shoes and stuff.
But just the fact that she never got told that he didn't
remember her.
Ooh, yeah, that's a bit problematic.
Yeah. Alex also became really obsessive with taking photographs because he got like really paranoid that he would lose his new memory and he'd need photographs to like rebuild it again.
Yeah.
But other than that, his life seemed like, pretty good considering he's like a 9-year-old child again. But there were some things that he really struggled with and struggled to understand. And a big part of that was the family house had a set of rules.
Okay.
The rules were this. They weren't allowed upstairs. To be fair, I think this was a huge house. So it was kind of like, in your parents' house, like a whole wing, like I say wing as a joke, but like there's a whole part of the house where it's like your nans and your uncle.
Yeah.
So like I've literally never seen it other than their kitchen. They didn't eat with their parents. They weren't allowed a front door key. There were certain other areas that were like out of bounds unless you had permission, particularly their father's side, which you had to be summoned to go to.
Okay.
And from the age of 14, which also explains the upstairs thing, the boys lived out in the shed in the garden. Now, I think it was a relatively large shed, not like thinking of like our shed. Yeah, fair enough. But they lived like out of the house, basically.
That's a really weird set of rules and absolutely, again, explains the emotional dissonance that they've had. I don't know why it's a weird one, but to pick up on for me, but I think it's because every single night my family has eaten dinner together. Since I
think it's really cute.
Which is, and I think that is part of the reason why I have such a really good bond with my family. Is because I've spent, at least an hour pretty much every single day since can remember eating and spending time with my family. But not eating together, especially when you're a child with your parents, that's really odd to me.
Yeah.
And
it's not really odd to me, but then I didn't really...
No, but I think that there's definitely... there's got to be some sort of connection between that and people, not... Why do you not want to spend time with your kids? What could be more important?
I mean, children are really annoying.
Yeah, but if they're rich as well, then they're probably just...
Got a nanny. I didn't know that. I didn't really have any help. But the other thing was that their stepfather was also known to be a bit of a bully, have an angry side. Yeah. I mean, the whole being summoned to the father's side of the house kind of gives that away. So this was another thing that Alex really struggled with because he obviously has no memory of his stepfather. But he would like sometimes just yell and like bang his fist down on the table and just dismiss the twins. And Marcus basically just told him like not to get involved, just be polite, always call their father sir. And that's just how families were.
Right.
Because again, he's going to have no other experience of any other family.
Yeah.
Like anything he's had gone. So he just kind of like never thought about it again. He just thought that's how families are. Because and this is why this story ends up being so heartbreaking. He just blindly trusted his brother.
As you would have to.
Yeah.
If he was
everything that Marcus told him, he took as fact.
Of course.
So a little bit later, in 1990, their father was dying of pancreatic cancer. And he called the twins into the study and asked for their forgiveness. Basically, he said, I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? Alex was like, yeah, absolutely. I forgive you. Because I guess from his point of view, he's just a dying man that has acknowledged that he was a bit of a dick.
That's fair. Yeah, he hasn't maybe had as many negative experiences. Yeah. Or can remember as many, at least.
Marcus, however, just said no and left the room. And he was a bit confused by this. So he questioned Marcus. He was like, why would you not give like a dying man his last wish? And Marcus just said it's complicated and he didn't want to.
Okay. You know what? That's fine as well.
Yeah. And again, I think Alex really thought anything of this until it was not until their mum died. But so after the father passed away, Alex believed that the strict house rules would relax. Believing that, his father was the one that enforced them because he was a bully.
Sure.
However, the rules became even stricter.
Interesting.
And again, Marcus told him not to worry about it. So he didn't.
How old would they be at this point?
He had his accident in 1982 and was 18. And then their father passed in 1990, which is 8 years later.
Okay.
So 26.
Were they still both living in the house?
I don't think so. Actually, that's not something that was touched on, whether they'd moved out or not
Mm.
at that point. I guess not, because after the dad died, he believed the strict house rules would relax. Like, they still weren't allowed a front door key or anything.
No, yeah. I don't know. To that just seems strange that they wouldn't have moved out, especially if they had family money or something, but I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't really touch a lot on their personal lives, like now, or kind of, I think they're kind of just keeping their lives very private now.
Okay.
But yeah, another 5 years passed. Their mother was found at the bottom of the stairs unconscious, and she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Alex had become really, really close with his mum since his accident. And when she passed, he was devastated. Marcus, again, showed no emotion.
Didn't really care. Okay.
And Alex just was so confused at this point. He was just like, how could you be so emotionless? Both our parents have died and you just don't seem to care.
Okay.
This is when it starts getting weird. So after the funeral, the twins started clearing out the family cottage and found some very odd things.
Okay.
They found 200 cartons of cigarettes, jam jars stuffed with cash, more money sewn into the hems of curtains, and a large number of sex toys in a locked wardrobe.
Okay.
Marcus just seemed to brush over everything. He was just like, yeah, whatever, just move on.
All right.
When they got into the attic, they described it as finding their childhood. All their school books, baby clothes, and boxes of presents from Christmas and birthdays from relatives were up there unopened. They never received them.
What? That's weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. Okay.
Moving on to their mother's room, they found a locked secret cupboard in the back of her wardrobe. They found the key and unlocked it, and they found...
I don't want to know.
They found a photograph of the twins, around the age of 10, naked, with their heads cut off.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What? What?
Yeah. Any thoughts about where this is going?
No.
No? Nothing? I immediately guessed what it... Like, within 10 minutes of the documentary, I was like, it's that, and I was right.
Okay.
But I do psychology.
Yeah, you do psychology. No. No.
Okay. We're going to be like move on to Marcus's side. And this is basically...
Can I just reveal everything? What's happened? Okay, right.
So, when Alex came home from his accident, Marcus immediately decided he was going to build a different life for Alex than the one they had.
Okay.
He wanted to paint a nice picture. After teaching him basic things, again, like, this is TV, this is fridge, this is jam, he realised that Alex just was blindly trusting him and believed anything he said, and that he could completely control what Alex did and didn't know.
Okay, that's a lot of power.
He wanted his brother to live in a fantasy world and leave all of the shit reality out. He lied about the holidays. They never actually went on holiday with their parents. And if they did go on holiday, it was with other families. So the photos he was giving him and presenting as a family holiday would be them on holiday with someone else. Okay. Not their own parents.
Yeah.
Remember that Alex built all his memories around this. This is what he didn't want his brother to know. Their mother had been sexually abusing them until they were 14. He didn't want his brother to be haunted by that, but after finding that photo, Alex confronted him, asking if they had been sexually abused. Marcus nodded, and Alex was in disbelief that their mother had been a paedophile.
That's a hell of a revelation to have, yeah.
Yeah. They have been rebuilding their relationship since. This really broke them apart. Alex now has no details about what happened to him. And he didn't know if anything he had been told up to this point was true or false.
Of course, yeah.
he became really, really depressed. And I 100% understand why, because he has built up this sense of self and it's been completely shattered in like one day.
Demolished, yeah.
He had suicidal thoughts. He didn't actually say whether he attempted to or not. But he was in a very dark place. He then met his wife. So this is a little bit of, silver lining.
Sure.
She really supported him in like rediscovering his past.
Yeah.
Up until this point, so this was up until 2019. So from when their parents passed, discovering, up until 2019, they never spoke about what happened. They worked together. They ran their businesses together and spent a lot of time together with their families.
Yeah.
They both had wife and kids at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But Marcus still refused to open up and speak about it because he didn't want Alex to know what happened. He didn't want to give him the details.
That's fair. I mean, I can imagine it would also have been incredibly harrowing on Marcus to relive that at the same time. Yeah. Him telling Alex about it would be him experiencing it again.
Like he got it's so much power to have, but I fully understand why he effectively lied and built up this different life for him because he wanted to protect his brother.
Of course.
So in 2019, Marcus made this like video for his brother, like basically saying what happened because he knew that he wouldn't be able to say it to his face, and that way he could give it to Alex and Alex could choose whether to watch it or not. To find out,
yeah. Okay, I understand.
Alex did choose to watch it. And I've just written basically what Marcus wrote from the video, and I'm just going to read it out. It's not fun.
Any trigger warnings you need to give people?
Holy shit, I should put the trigger warnings at the start of this.
Yes. You can do them now and then do a little aside as well before we can go into it.
So, trigger warnings, just, oh God, sexual abuse, child abuse, rape. That pretty much actually sums this up.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read this, and I'm so sorry because it's horrifying.
Okay, I'm just going to sit here.
So this is Marcus.
Yep.
My mother would take us into her room. She would take us into her bed. She would make us touch each other. She would make us play with each other. She would touch us. She would masturbate us. She would do things that no mother should ever do to her child. And then she moved on. Not only did she want to do those things for her own gratification, she then passed us around to her friends. She would drive us to friends' houses, have dinner and a glass of wine, and then leave us there. Never together, always on our own. And then some strange man that I'd never met and I never knew would take me into his bed and touch me and rape me and violate me for his own gratification. And then in the morning, my mother would come and pick me up and drive me home. I cried my eyes. I'm trying not to cry now.
Yeah.
I hope she's burning in hell right now.
Yeah.
So the last time that this happened, Marcus was driven to London by their mum to have dinner with an artist, and she left. He was taken into a room full of paintings, and the artist came in and started touching him. But when he got down to his genitals, he said no and that he didn't want to do it anymore and left. And that was when he was 14. He managed to get home by train, and in the morning, his mum seemed really surprised to see him. And he just looked at her straight in the face, straight in the eyes, and it never happened again, and she never took Alex again. And I think that was the point she realised she wouldn't be able to get away with it anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the end of that story. The two brothers, as far as I know, because they've written a book about it, and they've kind of tried to put it in the past and are trying to move on and rebuild their relationship as much, because they obviously still had a relationship at that point, but I think until that was out there and
there was something.
I think there's still a lot of, like, because they did they were interviewing each other not interviewing, like talking to each other. And I think there's still a lot of, not even like hatred, but like I think there's so much anger still from Alex's side towards his brother, because he's very much like, why would you do this to me? And obviously from Marcus's side, it was to protect
trying
you.
to help you. Yeah. Sure. I understand where both of them were coming from in that situation.
Yeah, because that was when I finished that documentary. I think that's when I asked you if you lost your memory and I knew something really bad had happened to you in your past, do you think you'd want to know?
I think I'd said no, didn't I?
I think you did, yeah. And I think I said I would want to know.
Yes, that's the difference.
Because I think that, I don't know. Because I think about like the shit things that happened to me in my life have fully made me the person I am today. And I think then if I had a reset and didn't know those things, I wouldn't be me. Yeah. That's how I view it.
I mean, that's very true. And I think that's a very healthy way of looking at it. I think that, I think for the most part, I completely agree. But I think if I had a reset, I don't know. I think that while I'm happy with who I am, if I had the potential to be better, it would be because I maybe didn't experience bad things. Maybe. I don't know. It's just, I think that's where my mind went. This is a hell of a fucking topic. Hell of a podcast.
Yeah, it was not fun to watch.
No, just the horrible things happening to these kids, man. It's unimaginable, inconceivable to me. It's I have such
You've been blessed to never be
have any sort of experience like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But this
Try again.
Thank you. This documentary for me, I think, like for me was an opportunity to then look at some less depressing stuff.
Sure.
But I think given just to kind of tie up the story.
I was going to say, so we need some sort of closure to be like, please tell me they're okay or whatever.
Yeah, no, they're as far as I know, again, because they wrote a book, and then I think since then they've been very private about their lives.
Understandably.
They're just fully, because they're both, again, they've got wife and kids.
Yeah.
They're both just trying to form as normal as life now, I guess. Because that would make them, because I'm trying to think how old they'd be now. If they were 18 in 1982, because they're twins as well. So, it's how long ago was 1982, 92, 02?
40,
43 years.
So they're 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might be grandparents at this point.
Jeez, yeah, maybe.
But, yeah, a lot of trauma processing, I think they're probably doing. Probably, hopefully, a lot of therapy.
Really hope so, yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, they're doing okay.
Good. Okay.
And their parents are 100% burning in hell.
Yeah, I understand why Marcus was like, "Nah, I don't forgive you," because
there was never. That was another point I think I wrote in. I think they both said, or Marcus said, up until like to this day, he doesn't believe that his stepfather was involved.
No, of course, but he may not have been involved, but he was probably aware of what happened.
I don't know.
You sure?
Well, because if you think about it, the evidence was all kind of locked away in her secret cupboard. He also always referred to it as his mother's room.
Yeah.
I don't think they slept together.
No.
Because it seemed like they were very in their own areas of the house.
True, but I mean, being married, you do know things about your partner.
Yeah, but then think about all the people that are married to like serial killers and they never know.
I think with this, he was probably... I think he knew, but he maybe wasn't in a position that he could do anything or confront her about it.
Well, because I think she might be the big bully anyway, because when he died, they said that they thought the rules would be more lax, but they weren't, they were worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there is a lot of things that we will never know about it because there's things that Marcus doesn't know.
It's possible that the stepdad was angry and frustrated because he felt maybe emasculated in his own home because he didn't feel powerful. If his wife had, I don't know, this sort of obviously had these.
She was touching kids.
Well, yeah, but she was obviously strong, had a position of power, and was able to orchestrate it in a way that meant that no one came after her.
Would have been so manipulative.
Which again is more evidence of a upper class paedophile child pornography ring. That but then again, that's probably something we'll never know. No, it's out there.
No, I meant specifically for that family.
Yeah, maybe not. True.
Well, yeah, of course it's out there.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
But
don't trust the rich.
Okay.
I wouldn't even eat them at this point.
Okay.
Filthy.
Yes, dear. Anyway.
Sorry, that's my opinion.
So the first thing I then I was just like, I'm going to do my psychology deep dive, and
yeah, let's go. Let's do more intellectual mind things.
But I really didn't want to look at the psychology of sexual offenders.
I don't blame you,
because I think I've also touched on that before in another episode.
Possibly, yes.
I think I did it. I did the psychology of offenders for rapists.
Yes.
So I thought I would go and look at some more interesting stuff instead. So I looked at twin studies because they're twins, and kind of why twin studies are really useful and interesting. Because with twins, it's easier to navigate the nature nurture argument because they have the same identical have the same genetic makeup.
They do.
Non-identical don't.
No. Similar. Very, very similar, but not exactly the same.
So these are just some of the things we've discovered from twin studies. Mm-hmm. So there's currently over 600 published papers that show many common diseases such as osteoarthritis, cataracts, and even back pain have a clear genetic basis.
Okay.
Because of twin studies, we know that genes account for the same amount of variability in eating disorders as they do in schizophrenia and bipolar.
Oh, okay.
Insights into obesity and the importance of genes for body fat storage. We now know that weight gain in pairs of twins are more similar than those in different pairs, and twins also tend to gain weight in the same places.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
So this is actually my favorite famous twin study that I learned about in like A-level psychology.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So Thomas Bouchard. This is from 1979.
Yeah.
Very old study. You probably recognize it as I read it out.
I think I might.
So they were looking at, again, this is very nature nurture. They were looking at identical and fraternal twins. So fraternal twins are like non-identical. Yep. Separated in infancy and reared in different environments.
Yes.
They often had similar personalities, attitudes, and interests. Now, this one pair, who were separated at birth and then reunited at age 39, had both married a woman called Linda.
Nice.
Divorced her.
Yeah.
And then both married a second time to a woman called Betty.
Oh, damn.
And then each one had a son called James Allen. And both had named their pet dog Toy.
Okay, I don't know if that's I think that's just a glitch in the Matrix. That's not a twin study. That's just a bug you got there. That's very strange.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So like same wife, same
divorced
kid,
same second wife,
same kid
with the same name, with the same pet
and same dog.
And that's so funny.
Well, I don't think the dog breeds are the same.
No,
but they both
the same
called them
name.
Toy.
Yeah. That's.
Because that's such a random name as well, Toy, for a dog.
Yeah.
It's not like a normal dog name.
Yeah, toy poodle, I guess. But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But the reason why twin studies are so important is because they help researchers study the interaction between genes and the environment. They, by comparing similarities between monozygotic and I hate this word, dizygotic.
I've never heard
twins, of that word. Researchers can better understand the relative contribution of genes and environment to individual variations.
Cool.
You don't know what those words mean?
I am just nodding and saying yes.
So monozygotic is identical because they come from one egg.
Because
it's one and it splits.
Yeah.
And dizygotic is fraternal because it's two eggs.
Yeah.
That's what those mean.
That makes sense. Yeah, mono, di. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I just was looking into some twin studies because I found them interesting.
Sure.
And then this was all just like revision for me looking into memories. So how do we make memories?
We do stuff.
We do well. Our brain does most of the work.
No, but we do stuff, and then the brain goes, "Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah,
Give me that.
kind
I'll
of.
put that in a box."
So this is why I have my little brain diagram.
You've got a little brain.
No one else will see, but you will.
Yeah, you're explaining it to me here.
So there's a lot of brain areas that are involved in making memories. So one of them is the hippocampus.
Yep.
Which is one of the ones that is in the middle that is
that
not
you can't
on this.
See, yeah.
But it kind of sits, if anything, it sits like kind of like goes like around there.
Okay, so in the center, sort of, with like a little orb.
No, it's not this bit.
Oh, it's not.
It goes round.
Oh, it goes
so
round
it's a seahorse shaped structure.
Seahorse shaped structure.
It's within the temporal lobe, and it's essential for forming new memories and retrieving existing ones. It's important for episodic memories, which is your memories of like events, and your declarative memory, which is facts.
Okay.
The amygdala.
I love that word, amygdala.
Is also involved again.
It's there
within this little area,
but it's not there.
I think if this was a one where it's like the size of a peanut or something.
Nice.
So you wouldn't really see it. But that's a lot to do with processing emotional information because your amygdala has lots to do with your emotions.
Yeah.
And it influences the consolidation of emotional memories. Sure. You then got your cerebellum, which is this bad boy.
Oh, right at the back. Yep.
That is responsible for motor learning and procedural memory, so skills and habits like tying your shoes, riding a bike, walking,
knitting, sewing.
Yeah. Then you got your prefrontal cortex, which is that bit.
Okay, so the prefrontal is the bit at the front.
Yeah, it's a big chunk.
It's a big chunk.
That's responsible for your working memory, which is holding information temporarily. Your semantic memory, which is your general knowledge, and the retrieval and manipulation of memories. And it is 1/3 of the frontal lobe.
Okay.
So your amygdala and hippocampus are parts of the limbic system, which is why I said isn't actually detailed on this, like any of it.
Yeah.
Which is not helpful.
It's a goddamn shame.
But the limbic system is crucial for emotional processing, and it's heavily implicated in anxiety disorders, which are linked with memory problems. So types of memory, I'd hope that you remember this from high school. Or
well, you got short-term,
A-level.
long-term.
Yeah, short-term and long-term.
Memory.
So your short-term is, it just allows your brain to remember short amount of information for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Then you have your long term. Do you remember what your long term split up into?
Why would I
just thought it was long term?
Why would I remember? I imagine it's like really long, middle long, and then short long.
Not at all.
Okay, never mind then.
So your long term memory is split into explicit and implicit.
Okay.
So your explicit is your conscious, and implicit is unconscious.
Okay.
So I'll start with implicit. Implicit is like priming. So like influence of stimuli. And then procedural, which is skills and motor. Because again, you don't think about breathing.
I try not to, yes. No, because manual breathing. People have a thing when you go to manual breathing. No one likes manual breathing. I'm not, you know what I mean.
Not really.
Okay. People at home, people listening, know what I mean.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And then your explicit, your conscious, is episodic, like events, and semantic, which is general knowledge. Things you have to like think about to recall.
Gotcha.
So how we make memories, I've written down a very
basic
okay. Of what happens, because what actually happens is
more complicated.
Really complicated and has a lot of words that you're not going to know what mean.
Cool. Thank you for dumbing it down for me.
So I put a really dumb version in.
Nice.
So basically, sensory input is briefly stored before processed into short-term memory. If that in the short-term memory is deemed important, it's transferred to long-term memory.
Yes.
There it's further consolidated and stored into different brain regions, like what I just spoke about. And this process involves changes in the brain's neural connections, particularly the formation of new synapses between neurons.
Okay.
That's how you remember things.
Yes. Synapses, neurons, connections.
Fantastic.
All the buzzwords.
Yeah. So that's a very basic.
So in relation to that, I've heard, I don't know where it was, I think it was a couple of years ago, but I heard that one of the reasons people experience deja vu, where like they believe that they're seeing something again, or like they believe that they've just something that's happened, and they're like, oh no, this
It's a
has happened
synapse
before.
misfire.
Yeah, or it's a synapse
Yeah.
misfire, or it's the short term, instead of an event being logged into the short term memory, it gets falsely logged into long term, and so that's why it's like, oh no, this has already happened instead of
I
this is
don't know
happening.
about the second one. I know about it's misfiring,
Okay.
but I haven't heard about the other one.
Okay. Well, I think that might have just been something I heard. I don't know.
Do you believe
where
everything
from.
you hear?
I try not to, but I think I thought when I heard it, I thought about that and was like, oh, cool, yeah, interesting.
I mean, I can look it up right now.
That's all right.
I don't know. I find deja vu I get deja vu a lot.
Yeah.
But my brain just misfires all the time. Misfires?
Misfires. Your mouth misfires as well. Trying to say words
Oh,
like misfire.
Okay, yeah. Nice save,
Yeah,
buddy.
I got you.
Oh, no, not always what is a misfire. It's because you started talking about it. What is deja vu? Yeah, I understand what it is. Why does it happen?
Yeah.
Scientists aren't exactly sure what causes it, but they believe it happens because of the way our brains process and retrieve memories.
Yeah, fair.
Doesn't really say.
No.
In some cases, it's a symptom of neurological problems such as epilepsy. Oh no.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's a French expression. It means already seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Already seen.
Yeah, the reason they don't know is because
there's not a lot of studies on it, is there?
Yeah, because you can't stop a person in the middle of a deja vu experience to examine their brain, and you also can't force it.
You can't force deja vu. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So I love things like this. We just have no idea why.
No idea. Yeah.
No idea.
Cool.
So then the last thing I looked at was just some really interesting loss of memory studies.
Okay.
So the first one is Ansel born in 1887. So he was an evangelical preacher from Rhode Island who woke up in Pennsylvania one day and couldn't remember how he got there or what he'd been doing for the past 2 months.
Yeah, fair.
He is one of the first documented, thank you, cases of dissociative fugue, which is something that I spoke to you about. I think again when I was watching this documentary, because I was like, oh, these are the studies I find really, really interesting, like people with dissociative fugue.
It's the idea of a fugue state, isn't it?
Yeah, because you were like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So this is a type of psychogenic amnesia that is not the result of injury or disease during which the person functions normally but doesn't recall their identity.
Oh, okay.
Because there's been a few cases since where it's just like people will just get up one day, move somewhere else, with a completely different identity, and they don't actually remember who they were before.
Yeah.
So creepy.
That's very strange. Could you imagine that happening to us?
No. I'd find you.
Well, that was threatening.
The second case I looked at was Scott Bolzan. Don't know if you know who he is.
Doesn't ring a bell.
So this was in 2008. He's a former NFL athlete. So he fell over in his bathroom and hit the back of his head. He then lost the last 46 years of his memory.
Jesus.
He didn't remember his wife, children. He didn't remember his NFL career or his subsequent career in aviation.
Wow.
He remembered nothing.
Oh my God.
2008, they can stick him in a brain scan.
Yeah.
So they stuck him in a brain scan and they revealed there was absolutely no blood flow to the right temporal lobe. He was alive.
Yeah.
He's had no other mental impairment and he can still form new memories, but he cannot remember the last 46 and probably will never get that memory back. Because once that blood flow's gone, it's
dead.
Yeah.
You just got a lump of dead brain in your head.
Yep.
Jesus. Okay.
And then the final one I looked at was Naomi Jacobs, who's also in 2008. This was a really interesting one. I wish I'd gone into it deeper, but I was running out of time.
Yeah, fair.
She woke up one day with no memory of the last 20 years. She didn't recognize her home or her 10-year-old son, but she could recall phone numbers and driving.
That's very strange. That's selective memory almost.
She had kept diaries for most of her life, so she used them to piece her life back together.
Okay.
They revealed accounts of drug use, psychotic episodes, and abusive relationships.
Wow.
Her memory did return slowly, and most of it had been recovered after 8 weeks. And she also wrote a book about it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, experience like that happens to you, you've got to write about it.
But I wish I'd gone into that one a bit more, like drug use and psychotic episodes, and definitely the abusive relationships. That feels like suppressive.
Almost, yeah.
That kind of escalated into just forgetting everything.
Protect yourself. Yeah. That's fascinating. Wow. Memory. Very strange.
It's very strange.
No one wants to lose their memory.
They really don't.
Well, unless something really bad happens to you, like that one.
Yeah, there's a few things that have happened to me that I would quite like to forget.
I was going to say, being able to selectively forget your memories would be...
It's kind of like your selective hearing.
It's not like that at all. I don't think it's like that at all. I don't have selective hearing. What are you talking about? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, this was a very short one. I kind of rushed through. I didn't really do a lot of research because I just wanted to do like some brief overviews of twin studies and memory studies, just because it was really dark and I just kind of wanted something just to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
It was also just a short documentary, and because it was only about like one story,
yeah,
it has been quite short.
Well, that makes sense. No, well, thank you very much for doing the research. It was a fascinating to hear about. I like learning more about this sort of thing.
You like learning?
I like learning.
Yeah,
it's good to know more about this stuff. But yeah,
I have no idea what our next episode is going to be on.
No, we will figure it out at some point.
And we hopefully will start recording again.
Yeah, maybe try and set up a more consistent schedule or something. Or maybe we'll do, like, if we can get a couple of episodes, we might just bank them. Like, get a couple of things, do a few in a day, and then release them more periodically. I'm not doing that. No? Okay.
That's a lot of research from me.
Okay.
Because you don't do the...
You've never asked me to do any research.
Would you want to?
I can do research into something if you want. Oh, is this... Am I taking over this podcast even more?
No. I would love to see you if I give you some psychological stuff to do and you go and research it, because then I can sit there and be like, no.
No.
I don't know where you read that, but...
Does it have to be psychological?
This is a true crime and psychology podcast.
I guess then, so yes. Fair enough.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, as always.
This is also your house.
This is my house, yeah. It'd be really hard for you to do this and me not to be at least present.
That sounds so honest.
And thank you as well to everyone who's listening to this as well, if you've managed to get this far. Thank you for staying with us. We did say it was going to be a bit shorter. I think we're still over an hour and a bit.
But that's still an hour less than we normally do.
That's true. We have had to cut down some of the episodes and just cut them in half before. But yeah, like I said, thank you very much for listening, and we will hear you soon.
You'll
hear us.
You'll hear us soon.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.